Hello, friends. Happy Monday. I hope you all had a wonderful weekend. Today, we will be starting a new book. It is called Cupid Doesn't Flip Hamburgers from the Adventures of the Bailey School Kids series. But before we go ahead and get started, we are going to say our Kids on Course motto, so repeat after me. I am smart. I believe in myself. I am a great kid. I have courage. I deserve to learn. Today is going to be awesome. Alrighty. So, we are starting a new book, and our first chapter is pretty short, so we only have 2 questions. Question number 1 is, what holiday are the students celebrating? And question number 2, who is the new cafeteria cook? So, now that we have those questions, let's go ahead and get started. Chapter 1, St. Valentine's Day. Pink lace and frills? This is girl stuff, Eddie complained, crumpling the paper valentine he was making into a wad. He glanced around the classroom to make sure his teacher, Mrs. Jeepers, wasn't watching. After all, most kids thought she was a vampire and didn't dare do anything to make her green eyes flash. Luckily for Eddie, Mrs. Jeepers was busy at the door talking to Principal Davis. Eddie eyed his target. A head full of bouncy yellow curls was just 3 seats away. With careful aim, he let his ruined valentine soar across the aisle. Smack! It landed right in the middle of Carrie's blonde head. Bingo! Eddie mouthed when Carrie twisted around to give him a mean look. I bet you won't get a single valentine, Carrie blurted out. Unfortunately, she was so mad she forgot to whisper. The class gasped when Mrs. Jeepers slowly turned around and flashed her eyes at Carrie. So you can see that Eddie is crumpling up his Valentine's cards and launching them at Carrie. I'm surprised to hear such a terrible insult, Mrs. Jeepers said in her strange Transylvanian accent. But Eddie Carrie started to say, Enough, Mrs. Jeepers interrupted and rubbed her green brooch. Valentine's Day is a time to show people we appreciate them. You must apologize for being rude. Carrie's face turned bright red. But apologize, Mrs. Jeepers insisted. The rest of the class watched as Carrie faced Eddie. I'm sorry, she muttered through clenched teeth. Then she turned around and stared at the half-made valentine on her own desk. Eddie smiled his sweetest smile until Mrs. Jeepers went back to talking with Principal Davis. Then he giggled as he pulled the eraser off his pencil and flicked it. Carrie flinched when the eraser popped her on the back, but she wasn't about to turn around and get in trouble again, and Eddie knew it. Melody sat behind Eddie. You'd better stop it, she warned, before Mrs. Jeepers catches you. But Eddie was having too much fun. As long as Mrs. Jeepers was busy, he was going to keep it up. He was just about to send a broken crayon hurtling towards Carrie when Mrs. Jeepers looked at the class and cleared her throat. Eddie quickly sat up straight and smiled sweetly. It's time for us to go to the cafeteria, Mrs. Jeepers said. Then she smiled an odd little half-smile. Today we will meet our new cook, Mrs. Rosenblum. Half the class groaned, but Liza raised her hand. Maybe we should give Mrs. Rosenblum a valentine, too. What a wonderful idea, Mrs. Jeepers said. Please line up and bring one of your cards. Most of the kids rushed to line up, but Eddie, Liza, Melody, and Howie waited to be last. That was a dopey idea, Eddie told Liza. You're just mad because you didn't get any Valentine cards made, Howie interrupted. Melody nodded. You were too busy bothering Carrie. And she's never going to forgive you, Liza added. Carrie has never been in trouble before. I don't care about her or Valentine's Day, Eddie said, shaking his head as they headed for the lunchroom. But I do care about my empty stomach. I'm hungry. We always have the same old slop in the cafeteria. Maybe the new cook will be different, Liza said. Eddie shook his head. That just means we'll have new slop. Eddie, you should really give her a chance. She may be a really good cook, Melody said as they walked into the cafeteria. It'll be the first good cook at Eddie said, but he stopped at the entrance of the cafeteria. What in the world happened? Howie asked. That is the end of chapter 1. So before you go, I'm going to remind you of our 2 questions. Question 1 was, what holiday are the students celebrating? And question 2, who is the new cafeteria cook? That is all I have for you today. There will not be a read aloud on Friday because I will be on vacation from Tuesday through Friday this week. So I will see you guys again next Monday. Have a good week, everybody.